G'day folks. So this is the story today. If you can see, and I'm sure you can't really, but if you see this track here, it's a faint track, goes up and up and up and over the hill. Well, years ago we had a farm up over that hill, and it's in the middle of nowhere. I'm north of Grafton quite a way, and it's one of those farms that was 5,000 acres. We had about 5,000 acres all up, and it was the smallest farm at the time by a long shot all around here. And there's no real fences. It's separated from cattle grid to cattle grid, so the cattle kind of just wander around most of the place. You can kind of see them over here. Oh, you can't really, but there's cattle through there, through the valley. And there's an Aboriginal community, well there was, up this road further, a fair way up there. But when they used to go into town and back, they'd come across this road. But the house we had up on the hill, well, it's probably a 10-minute drive up this track, and over and down and around and up and through. And there was a small house on top of this hill, and on top of the hill you could see every direction. The driveway in was along a ridge that was a long ridge, so you could see if someone was coming, you could hear them a mile away and you could see them a mile away, and you could see all around the lower paddocks. And the house was put up on top of the hill so that when the cows were having calves you could see the dingoes from miles away, and you could do what you had to about that. We used to sit up on the veranda when the cows were calving, and you'd see the dingoes hunting the little calves, and it was a long way away. We'd sit up there with a high-powered rifle and try and shoot these dingoes to get them away from the calves. You could do that in every direction, and Dad could hit them, but we could never get close enough to hit them because it's a long way away. Maybe there's a long way away. It's a big ass rifle, kicked like a horse when you shot it, but it was probably easily from here to those trees where you'd kind of be shooting at these dingoes. But anyway, that's not the story I wanted to tell. So this house we had, because it's in the middle of nowhere, there's no power. I'll try and get out of the window a little bit. So we just had a generator, and you'd put fuel in the generator and you'd have your lights and you'd watch your TV and do your thing, and we'd just go to bed whenever the generator ran out of fuel. The lights would turn off and you'd go to bed. So once the generator was out, there's no more lights unless you had your torch or you went and put more fuel in it. Now at one stage there was a guy that lived not nearby, but one of the closest houses, which is 30 minutes away, and he come around to the house one day just for a look and a talk or something, and he was a little bit seedy. And a few days later we had the generator stolen and motorbike stolen, and I think something else, but I can't quite remember. This is like 20 years ago, remember. So we had this stuff stolen, and Dad went around to the neighbour, because he's the closest neighbour, and he said, "Oh, we've had this stuff flogged. You got any idea where it might be?" And he said, No, I don't know anything about it. And Dad said, "Well, there's $100 cash reward, no questions asked, if the stuff comes back." So off we went, and a few hours later this guy turns up, same guy in his ute, with the motorbike on the back and the generator on the back. For some reason I think they stole a rifle as well. I'm just not sure about that. I'll try and get out of the wind here. And he said, "Oh, I want my reward." And Dad said, "I'm not giving you your reward because you stole it in the first place." So an argument carried on a bit there, and the guy cracked the shits, and it's hard to get out of this wind. The guy cracked the shits and left. Now later on that night, we're in the bed or in the house and the lights went off. Now keep in mind, the house is on top of a hill and you can see every direction. If a car comes, you know about it. So we're all in bed, we hear nothing, it's quiet as quiet. And then outside the house, and around the house we had a mesh fence that'd keep the dingoes out and the goannas out of the house and stuff when you weren't there. And that'd come in and try and get your food. So just outside the house, I don't know what time it was, in the middle of the night, we heard bang! And this fucking rifle went off outside the house. And as you can imagine, it scared the shit out of you, because we're all asleep in bed. And then you'd hear bang, and another one would go off. Well, the same, another shot would go off. And this happened for a little bit around the house, and because it was on the top of a hill, the guy or whoever could walk around the house outside this mesh fence very easily and just circle the house. And after a few minutes, you'd hear bang again, but now with the rifle shots, you could hear the bullets hitting the side of the house. So whoever it was started, I guess, just shooting up in the air, but then they started shooting into the house. Now there's only me and Dad there, and the doors are wide open. We had mesh fly screen doors, but the doors are wide open so the breeze can blow through, and the windows are half open so the breeze can blow through. And then I hear, well, after the first shot, I hear Dad yell out, "Get on the floor!" So I dived out of the bed and lied on the floor. Then he said, "Get under the bed." So I crawled under the bed. I must have been, I think I was probably 15, 16, 17, I'm not sure. 15, anyway. And I'm lying on the floor and you hear outside, bang! And this guy's walking around the house. There's a car coming, so you can hear him miles away. I don't really want him to stop. I'll see if they pull over. They usually pull over because you're out here by yourself in the middle of nowhere. And they're coming from that direction, from the camp. Just give us a second here. So I'm lying on the floor, and I could hear Dad crawling around on the floor himself, and it's only a 2-bedroom house. You could hear him crawl out of the bedroom, past my door and into the kitchen, and then you hear the laundry door open, the pantry door open, and you hear this ruffling noise. And in the pantry there was a manhole, and above the manhole, in the roof, is where we kept the guns. So I'm lying on the floor, and then be dead quiet. A few minutes later, bang! Another one would go off, and you see this person walking around the house, shooting into the house. And then I hear this bang, a real loud one, and fucking now Dad's in the house shooting out the windows at whatever he thinks he could see. So we've got a fella shooting from outside into the house, Dad's shooting from in the house out of the house, and keep in mind it's pitch dark, or it's moonlight, but you can't see anything, there's no lights. And I'm lying on the floor, and I crawl out between the door. I'm lying on the floor between the door, and I can see to my left is the fly screen door. I can see out the door, and to my right I can see through the house and out the other door, the fly screen door, so you can see right through. And I'm lying on the floor, and just as I turn to my left, I see a silhouette of a person, maybe like 20 meters away, walk in front of the fly screen door. And then I hear bang, and you could see, keep in mind, you could now see, well, I guess you could see, I could see this time, but you could see the guns go off and the flash come out of the barrel of the gun. So I'm lying on the floor in the hallway, looking around, and I hear bang just above my head, and the room flashed up, and Dad had shot through the fly screen door out towards this silhouette thing, and he shot maybe like 2 or 3 times, just went bang, 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 and then we heard nothing after that. And and because we're on top of this hill, maybe 20 or 30 or 40 meters away, the hill dropped off, so it didn't take much to run over the hill. So after that there was no more shots, and the morning come, and whatever. What happened after that? I can't remember if we called the police or not. It's a long time ago. It's maybe like 20 years ago. Anyway, we went and told the neighbours. I think the police did come out. Yeah, I'm sure they did. Oh, I don't know. It was a long time ago. But so the only way to that farmhouse, unless you drove, or if you drove down the driveway, you could see the headlights or hear the car. The only other way is to walk across all the paddocks. And so the guy that stole the motorbikes and then brought them back, he had a house right across the paddocks and over the hills. And he was a bit of a rough-looking guy, had a criminal record and stuff. And the police went to question him about it. Yeah, so he must have called the police. And they couldn't find him, there was no sign of him. And then they went back a few weeks later or whatever they did, and he hadn't been back to the house. And then a few weeks after that, his house burnt down. Maybe a few months, but his house burnt down. But the thing is, after that night, nobody ever saw that guy again. So he either went home, took off and never come back, or Dad shot him that night and he walked across the hills and died somewhere in the bush. We never saw him after that, never had a problem, and never had anything stolen again. So that's the story about that. You can see the cattle here now. Kind of walked up, see what the go was. Yeah. I liked it out here. It would flood in completely, and you get food drops from the helicopter. And then during the summer it'd be hot as buggery. You'd work in the morning, and then during the day it was too hot, so you'd go and have a sleep or a cold bath, and then go out later in the afternoon. But I'm going to keep going because I'm a bit concerned someone else is going to drive past and pull over and see what's going on. And not everyone out here is friendly. All right. I've got many stories like that I could maybe tell you later on. And most of them got to do with this this farm, so that's interesting. Alright, see you in the next video. Don't forget to click like, subscribe to the channel, you can leave a comment if you like, and you'll get new videos every time I upload them. See you soon.